Hey, welcome back to Start Q&A. As you can tell, we're running through these really quickly. We're doing batch recording. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's awesome for content marketers. So in reality, this question is a really good one. It says, I built out my MVP and it's on iOS, but I have no clue how to contact investors. One way that you can go about that is to do a really clever thing. I don't do this. I don't tell our founders to do this, but you can really kind of sneak past it. And that is to go into an ideal investor. Maybe you see someone like a lowercase capital. I don't even know if they're still investing, or a first round capital. Maybe you see something like you want to work with Collab Capital out of Atlanta. Maybe you want to work with KnowCap. So what I would do is look at their portfolio of companies. Then reach out to CEOs or co-founders of those portfolio companies and ask them what their experiences are with that investor. And hopefully what you'll kind of get to is make sure that they're the right investor in the first place. Then you'll tell them, hey, do you mind? I'm going to reach out to this investor. Do you mind if I tell them that we spoke? And then they'll say yes or no. If they say yes, then when you reach out to that investor, you say, hey, I've talked to these founders just to kind of make sure that it was a good fit here. I think that I'm a good fit for what you're building here. I think I'd be a good addition to your portfolio. I'm not a competitive investment. You want to make that clear because they will reject you if you are. You saw what happened with Phoenix. They were competitive with, I think, Andreessen Horowitz or Kleiner Perkins, I think. And the VC basically gave them $20 million for free because they were competitive with Stripe and no one realized it. And so you want to make sure that they know that you are competitive up front. And then you just ask them, hey, these are our metrics. You want to make sure you have your metrics down pat. Engagement, if you're on an MVP for an iOS, you're probably going to either go through revenue, unless you have some type of subscription fee, which would be monthly recurring revenue, but normally it's just revenue. And that might be advertising revenue or add-on revenue if you're doing type of freemium model where users pay for skins or add-ons or things like that. Then you also want to go into your engagement numbers. What percentage of your users are actually coming back a lot? And so finally, you might want to do a cohort analysis to make sure that if you are charging a monthly subscription, you want to know how long it takes for a user to fall off later on. And then on top of that, I'm imagining it's consumer. It might not be, but I'm assuming it's a consumer-based app. You want to also know your customer acquisition costs and put that in the line too. Because if you know your customer acquisition costs and you do a cohort analysis, you'll actually be able to pinpoint exactly how much money you can make from a customer before they leave your product or platform. And that is going to be really helpful for a VC to know because they're going to evaluate if I give $1 in and you take that dollar and you spend 40 cents, which is kind of the assumption that from social capital is that 40% of VC funding goes directly to advertising. So if I give you $1 and you take 40 cents of that and go into advertising, how much revenue will you get back off of that? And what multiple will that come back in? And so that is something that you're gonna wanna really lay out clear. All of these will be bullet points. Do not write a novel, just make them bullet points and really kind of provide the story of what you do and how you're going about doing it and how successful you are at that. And that's pretty much it. A lot of people have issues with VCs and cold emailing. I think it's really tough to cold email a VC, but I promise you, if your business is good enough, they will respond. Or they're not being good fiduciaries of their LP's investments. And that is a red flag. So most VCs, if you actually put a really good investment in front of them, they'll look at it. It's not one of those things where they're just going to shove it to the side or put it in spam. Because if they miss out on it because they put it in spam and you say, oh yeah, I reached out to them, they ignored me, their LPs are going to be pissed and nobody wants that. So be confident and make sure you share those metrics.